Blessings, everyone, and welcome. I'm so happy to see you again. And I've been really wanting to talk about this subject for a long time. It's something that I've been working on, and it has been coming to my attention a lot lately. And so the question is perfectionism holding me back? Asking yourself that, right? Is perfectionism holding me back? And the three main topics that I will talk about is the fear beneath your perfectionism, two, the turning point. What was your new beginning? And I know like my turning point was at 40. I'm going to share the story about how I created my new beginning. And three, two big words, commitment and discipline. We'll be touching on that. What is commitment and what is the discipline, with kind of checking in with what is your perfectionism. And I want to just say that I'm so grateful for you all coming, listening, and commenting to my channel. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you always taking the time. I've heard some great feedback on some of the practices that I teach in yin yoga and kind of following the themes of the astrological energy. I also love to teach on, I call it my mindful moments. And usually during meditation, things come up and I think, you know what, this is what I see that I'm working on, or I work with clients on it. And again, perfectionism came in strongly. And so I thought I would share that with you. So the first one is fear beneath perfectionism. So the way I can relate to it, I'll share a little bit of my background, is that oddly enough, looking back, almost 60 years now, I was always had a roof over my head, food to eat. My parents did, the very best that they could, and lived in a good neighborhood. It was modest living. But for some reason, there was always this lack of stability and security. And so my fear was starting from a young age. Maybe the lack of stability was maybe what I was picking up from my mother, possibly. Also, the stability, like how am I going to, from a young age felt like, how am I going to take care of myself? Maybe, it's like when you don't have the emotional stability in your life, then you start to rely on how you're out at a very young age, how you're going to take care of yourself. So for me, I experienced that throughout my life. It just grew into other things about being destitute, because I didn't know how I was going to provide for myself. I created this persona of trying to be the good girl or the nice person or the pretty one or look nice. So everything was on the outside appearance so that I could camouflage my fears and my insecurities. And it evolved into, always focusing like to stay, like I said, look a certain way or be fit or stylish, because I saw that other people were doing it and that you get like validation for all of those things. And everyone does it in different ways. Some people do it through sports. Some people do it through academics, anything that you get validation for, and you become highly focused on putting your attention. When perfectionism comes in, it's really about camouflaging what you don't want other people to see, the other side. Because on the outside, you could be extremely talented and successful in what you do, which is phenomenal, and we all have our gifts. However, what people don't see is the inside of really what's going on with you emotionally. Sometimes you go, I thought that person was okay, but they weren't expressing themselves. They were showing the outside of who they wanted people to see. And that becomes very difficult because it becomes harder and harder as you get older. That is when I realized that disguising yourself through covering your fears was becoming more and more apparent for me. And that leads me to the second point, is my turning point at 40. So I ask you, what is your new beginning? My new beginning was around 40, and why I'm sharing that pivotal point, and I think I see it a lot with clients. I remember with my peers at that time, we in our 20s, it's all about, finding our career. In our 30s is getting established. And then we have our expectations are so high and so demanding, and possibly either more involved in your careers or more involved in, creating a family. Whatever it is, you build up these expectations, and we want everything to be perfect because that's what we were told, that it has to be that way. That's what we think that life is supposed to be. And it's a lot of pressure. At a certain point in your life, you can't handle the pressure anymore. And the example I give is a fisherman's net. I don't know why this came. I think came into like a meditation. And it's like this net was never strong to start off with, because possibly some of us didn't have like the tools and support of this net. And I looked at it as more and more things I was accumulating in my life, and more stuff, and doing more things, and trying to juggle all of like life's expectations that I was putting upon myself, and trying to be the mother, the socialite, the perfect wife, whatever that meant, and the best mom I could be, which in hindsight at the time, that's when it came crashing down, was I couldn't be any of those things because I was burning myself out. I was burning both ends of the candle. So it was too much. And by 40, I started realizing I can't do this anymore. And I see that a lot with my clients who just around that time, you start to go, where am I going? Where's my life going? And burnout is serious. And burnout is the way of your soul saying, please listen to me. Please, we need to change the direction we're going. Because I say we, because that's really what it is, right? It's like we're working together with our soul, our spirit. And so that's when, for me, was my new beginning, and I started making changes. And one of the motivators was I wanted to be a better role model for my kids. Now my kids are in their late 20s, and I'm really happy with the choices that I've made. And you have to ask your why, like, what are your intentions? What kind of life do you want to live beyond, and the quality of the life that you want? And at the end of the day, that's what's going to give you peace, what's going to help you make you feel better for yourself. And then when you do that, the people around you notice and appreciate it and learn from you. So I just wanted to be a better role model for the remainder of my life, hopefully. And so the last part was so this is so pivotal, I can't say a word, was it the appearance, my outer appearance to the inner stability. And so I think I mentioned on that is how you can look at someone and see, again, they're successful, they have it all together, they're fit, they look good, they've got it, the package looks great. But then you might not know that they are suffering, they are having problems, and they're not showing it, and they're not sharing it. And one of the things that's really helped me a lot as I've learned the tools along the years, since that pivotal point of turning 40, making that shift of my new beginning, was starting to learn tools because I didn't have them before, getting deeper into my practice, deeper into my spiritual practice, mindfulness, my yoga, my breath work, reading, practicing, doing nothing, coming into stillness, finding my quiet time. These are all things that have been phenomenal for the shifts that have helped me and my family, for sure, throughout the years, and really has helped me to this point where even on days those fears come up, like, am I going to be stable? Can I provide for myself? When those fears kind of creep up, now I have a toolkit, and I can go into, life is not perfect, and we're going to figure it out. There's a bigger meaning to all of this. I've been okay already. One of the things that you can do is, you've made it this far, you're here. So that's, I've made it this far, I'm here. So you can do that. You can look at how far you've come, look at all the lessons you've learned, and you're okay right now. And if you're not okay, then maybe what I'm sharing with you might help. Hopefully you will ask for help, because that's what I did. I started, not only was I learning things, but I asked for help. I reached out, I remember, to a friend who had quite a volatile life as well, and he made changes. And I said, can you help me? And he did it in a support way, and got me a community that I could work with and make some changes, some healthy changes. So the third thing that I want to touch on is those two magic words, commitment and discipline. And commitment is staying the course. So at 40, I realized I had to make a commitment to myself, which was a commitment to myself and to my family. But it has to start with you. We do it too much for other people. That could be a motivator at the beginning, but will not hold strong enough. It really has to come like you got to say, I have to take care of myself first so I can take care of others. And so staying the course. But to stay the course, you need discipline. And if you don't have a practice of discipline, you do a little bit at a time, so you're not overwhelmed. And showing up when it's hard, because life is hard. That is nature. Nature's hard. It starts snowing and the trees are bare, and they hold strong, And so we have to do the same thing. And the discipline for me has been practicing, like starting my morning off right. This is like, I won't go without. Every morning I wake up early enough that I have time to have quiet time. I have my spiritual readings that I do. So whatever practice that you can do in the morning that's quiet, not the news, not scrolling, not, these are distractions. This is not wanting to deal with your stuff. Deal with it. And the only way to deal with your stuff that's going on is to come into a quiet space. So I start my morning, and that's my discipline. And even if I feel a little pulled off, even if I have a day that doesn't feel great, even if I have a day I get discouraged, I still have that compass every morning. Even if I'm sick, every morning I wake up, and it doesn't take much energy to take time for myself. To ground, to have gratitude, to finish my day with gratitude, to find something sweet in something throughout the day. Sweet meaning sweetness of life. So these are things that have just been beautiful gems that I've picked up, that I share, and that I teach, and that I coach on. It is just integrated. And how do you integrate? And you integrate that by learning and by getting, people helping you out with that. And they show you the way, they show you the path. So those are the two. If you can focus on those two things, like commitment and discipline, just keep on bringing those two in, then you're living your true calling. And you're living your true calling, it. And I think that's what happens, right? Like that burnout time, that point where you have you want to create a new beginning in your life. It really is the pivotal point of that true calling, why you came onto this earth, why you're here, why you want to live the life that you were meant to live. So listening to that. And finally, the hidden gem of freedom. So the hidden gem of, first you got to ask yourself, what hidden fears are holding you back? So I would ask of you right now, what hidden fears are you can share with me, share with others. Remember, this is a community where, I hope that we are like-minded in love and light, and we are sharing the same high vibration, and you feel safe enough to want to share it when you're ready, or take time to contemplate this question. is like, what is holding you back? What fears are holding you back? And as I shared the correlation of the perfectionism and the fear, that's been a big thing for me. You know, when am I getting pulled back into the old ways of doing things that I think will make me feel better, right? I think that if I look a certain way, will I be okay? But that's not the point. Is, will I feel okay? Do I sit with ease, with peace? Does this give me ease and peace? So these are questions that you can ask yourself and notice the fears that come up. You know when they're coming, when you are distracting yourself and you're deflecting your emotions on the outside. So you don't need to be perfect, right? We don't need to be perfect. There's beauty in imperfection, and loving that part of us is just, it's been a gift. You know, it's a gift to love every part, your imperfections, everything that makes you, and learning from the sides of you the sides that we don't want to see, that we were scared to show. Say, you know what, that's real, because they were the wounds that were crying out to be heard. So think about, again, reflection, take time for yourself. And just reading this note is, you just need to stay committed to your growth. You just need to stay committed to your growth. Keep on nurturing, keep on loving the growth, and be curious about where you're going to go, how you're going to grow, what's coming up, and stay open-minded. That's what I'm trying to do, instead of having, like, you know, expectations that are weighing myself down, trying too hard. It's okay to work hard, but to try hard for the wrong reasons, then we're coming into, again, maybe that perfectionism. And if you want to learn a lot more about how to tap into your inner knowing, like what's going on, check out some of my videos on I have inner peace practices, mindfulness, meditations, and my yin yoga practices have been really wonderful to teach and to practice. And you'll enjoy them. And I've heard great feedback, because they give you time to sit quietly, see what kind of reaction your body is telling you, and your expectations of what you think you should be. And you know what? You are exactly where you should be right now. And you're just going to grow more from where you're at, because now you're listening, you're asking questions, and you're curious. And I want to thank you again so much for taking the time to listen to what I love to passionately share, and to hopefully give some help or something to, some ease and some relief to someone who is in need, to figure out, how do I get away from this constant push of trying to do things right, do it right. And you know what? Just keep on doing you in a most loving and kind way, and you will just enjoy each moment and each day. So I wish you a blessed day, and thank you so much.